Be me, 27-year-old sound editor in small studio. Not rich, but pay bills, rent, food, even her Netflix. GF calls me infantile for wanting to change jobs. Buckle up, Anons. This is a wild ride. Work at this tiny audio production place for 3 years now. Nothing glamorous, but steady paycheck covers everything. Rent, groceries, utilities, even streaming subscriptions. Live with girlfriend Aria. She's 25. Been together for over a year. She moved in pretty quick. Told me she was between jobs when we started dating. That was 14 months ago. Typical day starts at 8 a.m., editing podcast episodes and commercials, mixing audio tracks, cleaning up recordings. Not exactly my dream job, but pays the bills. Come home around 6 p.m. Aria's usually on the couch, same spot I left her in the morning. Laptop open, some reality show playing in background. Asks what's for dinner like I'm some kind of personal chef. Never complained much at first. Figured she'd find work eventually. Helped with her resume, sent her job listings. She'd apply to maybe one position per week. Always had excuses when nothing came through. Interview went badly. Company wasn't right fit. Commute too long. Meanwhile, I'm covering rent, groceries, her phone bill, even her coffee shop visits and manicure appointments. Should mention the setup we had going. 2-bedroom apartment in decent neighborhood. Not luxury, but clean and safe. Aria gets the spare room as her creative space. Filled it with art supplies she never uses. Yoga mat still in packaging from 6 months ago. Guitar she bought to learn music, collecting dust. My job isn't terrible, honestly. Small team, decent boss, flexible hours sometimes. Work on indie film soundtracks occasionally. Local band recordings, corporate training videos. Variety keeps it interesting, even if pay could be better. Been thinking about moving to bigger studio downtown. More opportunities, better equipment, chance to grow. Aria's daily routine pretty predictable. Wakes up around 10 a.m. when I'm already at work. Coffee, social media, maybe some online shopping. Watches cooking shows, but never actually cooks. Orders takeout with my credit card. Spends afternoon on video calls with internet friends. People she's never met in real life, but talks to for hours. Evenings, she'd complain about being bored. Wanted to go out more, try new restaurants. All on my dime, obviously, since she had no income. Suggested she could get part-time job at least. Anything to contribute or stay busy. She'd get defensive, say she was focusing on personal growth, whatever that meant, while binge-watching reality TV. Started noticing pattern with her job applications. She'd find reasons to disqualify herself before trying. Company too corporate, position too entry-level. Schedule conflicts with her yoga classes she never attended. Commute would be stressful for her sensitive personality. Always something preventing her from actually working. Meanwhile, I'm doing overtime when available. Taking on weekend projects for extra cash, editing wedding videos, birthday party recordings, anything to keep us financially stable. Aria would complain I worked too much. Never connected it to funding her lifestyle. Relationship felt increasingly one-sided. I'd come home tired from 8-hour editing sessions. She'd want to talk about drama from her online friend groups, people with made-up problems and too much time. Their biggest concerns were, which influencer said what? While I'm calculating if we can afford her latest wants, tried talking about our future together. Maybe she could take online courses, develop skills, learn graphic design, social media marketing, something that matched her interests. She'd agree enthusiastically then, forget by next day. Cycle repeated every few weeks with different career ideas. Money stress started affecting my work performance. Harder to focus on projects knowing every dollar mattered. Boss noticed my enthusiasm dropping, asked if everything was okay at home, didn't want to share personal problems at workplace, just said things were fine and pushed through. Aria's spending habits gradually increased over time. Started with necessities, then comfort items, skincare products, subscription boxes, clothing deliveries, justified everything as investments in herself, needed to look good for future job interviews. Except interviews weren't happening. Credit card statements became depressing reading. Food delivery apps, coffee shops, random online purchases, streaming services I didn't even know existed, gym membership she used twice in 3 months, professional photo shoot for social media profiles. Friends started asking questions about our arrangement. Why wasn't she working after all this time? What was her plan for contributing financially? Felt embarrassed explaining the situation honestly. Usually deflected with vague answers about her searching. Arya became sensitive about money discussions, would shut down or change subject when I brought it up. Accused me of being controlling or materialistic. Said relationships weren't about keeping score. Easy to say when you're not the one earning. Situation reached breaking point around month 13. Rent increase notice arrived, utilities going up. My salary wasn't keeping pace with rising costs. Needed to either earn more or cut expenses significantly. Obvious solution was Arya getting some income. Approached conversation carefully this time. Explained our financial reality without blame. Showed her actual numbers, what everything cost. Asked for a specific timeline on her job search. She promised to get serious about finding work. Week passed with no visible change in routine. Same daily pattern of sleeping late and scrolling phones. Asked about applications she'd submitted, vague responses about waiting to hear back. No evidence of actual job hunting activity. Decided to be more direct about timeline. Gave her 30 days to find employment. Any job would help, even minimum wage part-time. She agreed but seemed annoyed by deadline. Called it unnecessary pressure during difficult time. Days kept passing with minimal effort from her. Would see her laptop open to shopping sites, social media scrolling, video streaming, everything except job search websites. Confronted her about lack of progress. She exploded about my unrealistic expectations. Claimed job market was impossible right now. Said I didn't understand how hard searching was. Blamed economy, employers being too picky. Everything except her own lack of effort. Realized conversation wasn't productive anymore. She'd built entire identity around being victim. World was against her. Nothing was her fault. I was just another source of pressure and stress. Meanwhile, still paying for everything she needed. Then something changed around week 3 of Ultimatum. Arya discovered some podcast about high-value men. Spent an entire weekend listening to episodes. Suddenly had strong opinions about masculinity. Kept talking about what real men should do. Podcast apparently featured some internet blogger woman. Preached about traditional gender roles and relationships. Men should be providers. Women deserved to be supported. Career changes showed lack of commitment and stability. Arya absorbed every word like gospel truth. Monday morning, I mentioned considering new job opportunity. Bigger studio downtown, better pay and equipment. Chance to work on feature films instead of commercials. Arya's reaction caught me completely off guard. Called me infantile for wanting to change jobs. Couldn't believe what I was hearing. Woman who hadn't worked in 14 months, living entirely off my income and effort. Criticizing me for exploring career growth. Apparently job hopping was sign of immaturity. Tried explaining opportunity was actually promotion. Better salary would help our financial situation. More interesting projects would make me happier. Happier me meant better relationship for both of us. She wasn't having any of this logical reasoning. According to her new worldview from podcast, mature men stayed in stable positions. Built security through consistency, not ambition. Wanting change meant avoiding responsibility. Successful relationships required reliable providers. Irony was completely lost on her. Lecturing about responsibility while contributing nothing. Talking about stability while being total financial dependent. Criticizing my work ethic from unemployment position. Cognitive dissonance was absolutely staggering. Started noticing she'd share podcast quotes online, social media posts about demanding better from men, stories about not settling for immature partners, all posted from apartment I paid for using internet I funded. Audacity reached levels I didn't think possible. Her internet friend who introduced the podcast, some wannabe influencer with strong opinions, never had steady relationship or career herself, but expert on what men should provide. Arya treated her advice like professional counseling. Phone calls between them became daily occurrence. Could hear conversations from other room, discussing my supposed shortcomings and character flaws, how I wasn't living up to masculine potential. Felt like defendant in trial I never agreed to attend. Work situation became more complicated too. Boss officially offered position at partner studio, significant pay increase and creative opportunities. Exactly what I'd been working toward for years. Should have been celebration, but dreaded telling Arya. Brought up job offer carefully that evening. Emphasized financial benefits for our household. Explained creative fulfillment aspect for my happiness. She immediately launched into podcast-inspired lecture about men who couldn't commit to anything. Apparently wanting better career meant personal failure. Showed lack of masculine leadership and vision. Real men built empires from whatever position they held. Changing jobs was running away from challenges. Her logic made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Pointed out she'd changed jobs 0 times, since she'd never actually held one during our relationship. This observation did not go over well. Accused me of attacking her during vulnerable period. Somehow, I became villain for stating basic facts. Argument escalated over several days. She'd bring up my supposed immaturity constantly. During meals, watching TV, random moments, like broken record, repeating same criticisms. All learned from internet strangers' dating advice. Decided to document her daily activities objectively. Wake up time, productive tasks completed, job applications submitted, interviews scheduled. Results were exactly what you'd expect. 0 professional development or income generation. Meanwhile, I was working extra hours, covering increased expenses from her lifestyle inflation. Podcast apparently inspired more self-care purchases, skincare routines, workout clothes, supplements, all necessary for attracting high-value partner apparently. Cognitive dissonance reached peak absurdity. Woman calling me immature and irresponsible. While I financially supported her complete lifestyle, she contributed literally nothing tangible, yet positioned herself as relationship expert. Friends started noticing change in her attitude. Social gatherings became uncomfortable experiences. She'd make comments about men needing to step up. While I paid for her drinks and transportation, embarrassment factor was off the charts. Tried having serious conversation about double standard. How could she criticize my work decisions when she made no income or career contributions? Response was more podcast wisdom about gender roles. Women supported men emotionally. Apparently that counted. Emotional support consisted mainly of criticism now. Everything I did got filtered through podcast lens. Working late meant avoiding home responsibilities. Relaxing meant lacking ambition and drive. No winning scenario existed anymore. Her internet mentor started doing live streams. Arya would donate money from joint account to woman teaching her how relationships should work, paying stranger to criticize my life choices, using money I earned through work she called immature. Situation became increasingly surreal. Unemployed woman funding relationship advice. From another unemployed woman with strong opinions, both experts on what working men should provide, felt like living in alternate reality. Podcast community apparently encouraged this behavior, commenting on each other's relationship problems, validating complaints about inadequate male partners, creating echo chamber of entitlement and criticism. Arya found her tribe of professional victims, started calling me infantile in front of others, social media posts about dating immature men, stories clearly referencing our relationship dynamics, all while living rent-free in an apartment I provided. Public humiliation was final straw for me. Realized relationship had fundamentally changed. Woman I'd supported for over a year now saw me as failure because internet stranger said so. No amount of logic or evidence would change her mind. Podcast programming had completely overridden reality, made decision quietly without dramatic announcements, started researching how to handle situation legally, checked lease terms, financial obligations, prepared for inevitable confrontation and consequences. New things were about to get very interesting. Weekend came and she was particularly vocal, telling her phone friends about my latest failings. Apparently, considering job change proved deep character flaws. I was example of what women shouldn't tolerate. Conversation was happening in my living room. Monday morning brought clarity and resolve. Picked up phone and called her parents directly. Explained situation calmly and professionally. Their daughter had been living with me unemployed. I would no longer be providing financial support. Parents seemed surprised, but not shocked. Apparently, this wasn't her first extended unemployment. They asked when she'd be coming home. Told them taxi would arrive within 2 hours. Conversation was brief and businesslike. Hung up phone and started packing her belongings. Everything fit into 2 suitcases, surprisingly easily. Mostly clothes and beauty products I'd paid for, along with unused art supplies and exercise equipment. Physical evidence of wasted opportunities and money. Arya emerged from bedroom asking about phone call. Saw suitcases and immediately understood situation. Started protesting about hasty decisions and communication. Explained this was actually very well considered choice. Months of financial support with zero reciprocation. Called taxi company while she processed reality. Driver would arrive in 30 minutes, gave address, and confirmed pickup details. Arya alternated between anger and disbelief. Apparently hadn't considered consequences of her behavior. Tried explaining how podcast advice backfired. Criticizing provider while being dependent on them, calling supporter immature while contributing nothing. Basic cause and effect relationship finally revealed. Too late for apologies or promises to change. Taxi arrived exactly on schedule. Professional driver helped load suitcases. Arya asked if we could discuss situation more. Told her parents were expecting her tonight. Relationship discussion period had officially ended. Closed apartment door and felt immediate relief. Silence was golden after months of criticism. Could think clearly without constant judgment. Freedom to make career decisions without interference. Space to rebuild life on my own terms. Took job offer the next morning. Boss was thrilled about my enthusiasm return. New positions started following Monday. Better pay, creative projects, professional growth. Everything Arya had called signs of immaturity. First paycheck at new job was revelation. Income increased by 30% immediately. No longer supporting second person's lifestyle. Disposable income existed for first time in months. Could actually save money and plan for future. Apartment felt bigger without her stuff everywhere. Could use spare room for home studio setup. Invested in better audio equipment for freelance work. Productivity increased without constant interruptions. Life trajectory improved dramatically within weeks. Friends noticed positive change in my attitude. No longer stressed about money constantly. Could enjoy social activities without budget anxiety. Conversations didn't revolve around relationship problems. Dating became possibility again eventually. Never heard from Arya after taxi departure. Mutual friends mentioned she was living with parents, apparently still unemployed and criticizing men online. Podcast wisdom wasn't helping with actual career development. Some people never learn from consequences. Learned valuable lesson about enabling behavior, supporting someone temporarily versus indefinitely. Difference between helping and being taken advantage of. Importance of reciprocity in healthy relationships. Red flags to watch for in future dating. New job exceeded expectations completely. Worked on soundtrack for independent film. Project won several festival awards. Career advancement vindicated my instincts about change. Podcast would have called this immaturity somehow. Financial stability returned quickly without dependent. Built emergency fund within 6 months. Started investing in retirement accounts again. Could afford hobbies and professional development. Standard of living improved across every metric. Dating eventually resumed after a year of recovery. Met women with careers and personal ambition. Conversations about mutual goals and shared expenses. Partnerships based on contribution rather than consumption. Healthy relationships required effort from both people. Looking back, the situation was clearly unsustainable. Supporting someone who criticized your work ethic, funding lifestyle of person calling you immature, tolerating public humiliation from financial dependent. Should have ended much sooner, honestly. Podcast phenomenon apparently still going strong. Internet full of relationship advice from unqualified sources. People seeking validation for entitled behavior. Echo chambers reinforcing victim mentality. Dangerous combination of ignorance and confidence. Learn to trust instincts about career opportunities. External criticism often comes from jealousy or insecurity. People who contribute nothing shouldn't dictate decisions. Success requires ignoring noise from unsuccessful people. Following your path despite others' opinions. Arya probably still thinks she was right somehow. Cognitive dissonance prevents learning from mistakes. Easier to blame men than examine personal choices. Podcast provided convenient scapegoat for problems. Accountability remains foreign concept apparently. Life lesson about distinguishing temporary help from permanent enabling. 6 months supporting job search is reasonable assistance. 14 months funding unemployment while being criticized is insanity. Boundaries exist for good reasons in relationships. Violating them leads to resentment and dysfunction. Career change worked out better than imagined. Now senior editor at respected production company. Work on major commercial campaigns and music videos. Income allows comfortable lifestyle and future planning. Vindication for following professional instincts despite criticism. Apartment became sanctuary instead of battlefield. Space for creativity and personal growth. Friends welcome without judgment about lifestyle choices. Peace and quiet for focusing on meaningful projects. Environment conducive to success and happiness. Relationship standards evolved significantly after experience. Employment status became non-negotiable requirement. Mutual respect for career ambitions essential. Financial contribution expected from both partners. Criticism without contribution absolutely unacceptable. Funny how quickly things improved after removal of toxicity. Energy previously spent managing drama redirected to productive activities. Stress levels decreased dramatically within weeks. Sleep quality improved without constant relationship tension. Mental health benefits were immediately noticeable. Social media occasionally shows Arya's updates, still posting quotes about high-value men, still unemployed according to public profiles, still living with parents in childhood bedroom. Some outcomes are predictable and inevitable. Moral of story for fellow Anons. Don't let unemployed person criticize your career choices. Financial dependency disqualifies relationship advice authority. Internet podcasts aren't substitute for personal responsibility. Enabling someone often prevents their growth and independence. Boundaries protect both people in long run. TFW, she called me infantile. While she lived off me for over a year. Sent her back to mommy and daddy. Never looked back. living my best life now anons.